YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Wall presented by Perky Jerky. I am the 12-pack of Busch Beer, Kane Jr. 88, along with my two slide-jobbing sons of bitches, the tall glass of Diet Cherry Ginger Ale, Thermite 917, and the 16-ounce tall boy can of Smirnoff Ice Smash, Pro Bowl 43. And today we were lobster hunting in New Hampshire for the Foxwoods Casino and Resort 301 and the Busch Series Lakes Region 200. And obviously the trucks were racing this weekend over at the hallowed grounds of Eldora Speedway for the Eldora Dirt Derby. And here with the recap for the Cup Series race is Tyler.
Yes, thank you, Kane, for that wonderfully boisterous intro. Very good. So yeah, the Cup race was in Loudon for the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301. Definitely not going to go there. Kurt Busch started on the pole, but there was a couple early cautions though. Landon Castle had a really rough weekend. Crashed in practice, ended up crashing 13 laps into this race. He was out immediately, and then right away again, AJ Allmendinger backed her in the fence, and then he was out. Now, there was a little bit of rain, obviously, that had delayed the race in the first place, so there was a competition caution put in place, and that was the next of the yellows. After that, there was another debris caution, and the running order actually kind of got a little jumbled after that competition yellow. Ricky Stenhouse surprisingly stayed out, led himself a whole 11 laps. That was nice to see him up there. Not really, but he was there. But Martin Truex Jr. eventually got back into control and won the stage with no problems there. The second stage had absolutely no yellows, but a surprise victor there. Chase Elliott kind of weaved his way up there into the front-running pack and made his way to the lead. Ended up leading a total of 23 laps to end the stage and just beat Kurt Busch to win it, his first stage victory of the season. So he actually got beat out on pit road just slightly by Kurt Busch, and Kurt Busch was in charge for a little while, but then Aric Almirola snuck himself up there, really using that inside line on some of the restarts and worked his way right there to the front and eventually passed Kurt Busch, and he looked in control handily until a caution for his own teammate Clint Bowyer having some sort of problem in the rear end slapped her off the wall and brought out the final caution of the race. Aric lost the race off of pit road to Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick had a terrible restart and he was out of the running for the win. So Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, two people you've seen all year long, were left to duke it out. Kyle really had just been kind of cruising around the top 10, top 5 for most of the day, but found himself in the lead for the last run of the race. And he led for 36 laps until Kevin Harvick, the closer himself, really closed in on him, kind of messed with him a little bit, and then eventually gave him this nice little shot to the ass, booted him right up the track, and Kevin scooted away and took his 6th points-paying victory of the season. And yeah, that's exactly what happened, because I just recapped it for you. So Kevin Harvick gets the win. Kyle Busch finishes 2nd. Aric Almirola in 3rd. Martin Truex Jr. in 4th. And Chase Elliott round out the top 5. Surprising 6th-place finisher with Ryan Newman, his best result of the season. Ryan Blaney in 7th. Kurt Busch, Joey Logano, and Jimmy Johnson round out the top 10. Let's get into race ratings, and Nick, I want you to give yours first.
I will do that, and I will give it a 7.5. This was a surprisingly good race for New Hampshire. I don't know if it was the PJ1 or the sticky stuff or the announcers doing a great job and having Rick Allen in the pits for once, or just the drivers racing a little harder because they don't have to worry about this track in the chase, but it was just good out there. Dirty air wasn't a big deal. There was a lot of passing. They could kind of diamond the corner to the extreme and get to the bottom and really make some runs to help the passing. I know it ended up being the big 3 at the end, but they still made it a hell of a show between Kyle and Kevin. I'm very gutted for Almirola. I think he would have had that if it stayed green. That would have been awesome, but it was still a good race nonetheless. I'm impressed. Good job, New Hampshire. Kane.
I'm also going to give it a 7.5. It was a very, very entertaining race considering it was New Hampshire. Obviously, I prefer somebody that isn't one of the big 3 to win, like Almirola, Kurt Busch, or Chase Elliott. But, you know, I mean, even though it's two guys we've seen duking it out all season long, it was a really entertaining finish, especially when Harvick knocked Kyle out of the way. That was funny as hell. I mean, Kyle was a little bit salty, but hey, it could have been worse. It's a 7.5 from me, Tyler.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna knock it down a half point. 7, I think that fits really nicely. Obviously, as we've already said, Loudon does not bring the greatest of races. I really don't know of a lot of memorable ones over my duration of watching NASCAR, but this one was actually pretty solid. Unfortunately, it just didn't have the story that you kind of wanted it to. You know, I mean, again, Kevin Harvick has his 6th win of the year, and he battled Kyle Busch, who already has 5 wins. What I will say is that, it was nice to see that there was so many different people that are up there leading. There was 7 different leaders among 10 league changes, and 6 of those guys really looked like a legit threat for the win, and some that you haven't seen. So it was nice to see that. What pisses me off though is the fact that Eric Almirola, he hasn't won yet. He's with SHR. Chases was up there. Kurt Busch actually led the most laps on the day, 2 times for 94 laps, but yet always in the end of these races, it seems like those guys cannot close. For some reason, they're superior teammates, and the teams that have been successful all year long, your Kevin Harvick, your Kurt Busch, they always just wiggle their way up to the front, and next thing you know, they're battling out for the win. I mean, Kevin Harvick, the guy who won the race, only led 12 laps. So, it's just insane. He lived up to his name. His team just so happened to be the most consistent, and, well, in a way, it's predictable. At least it just was in a slightly different fashion that we normally see. So it was a good race. I enjoyed it, and we'll take it.
Well, we have a couple topics this week. The first one, we have to talk about Eldora. Always love a good Wednesday night primetime race, and once again, this race did not disappoint. You gotta go see it in person if you see nothing else. It always puts on a great show. Chase Briscoe ended up winning as a 5th ThorSport entry in a amazing photo finish. The entire race itself was great. Drivers could use multiple lines. There was a lot of passing. Really not many stupidity cautions, so that they just put on a good show as always. So, guys, what did you think about it?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, hell of a show. We always look forward to Eldora every single year since they've started it in 2013. And I think this is probably one of the best that they've had. Definitely the best finish. That's no argument there. The trucks are my favorite series. You got dirt. It's just cool. We don't even really need to go into the dynamics of that. But the race itself just was good enough. You sat back, you chilled, you enjoyed it. And you didn't really know who was going to win. There were guys up there that kind of positioned themselves as players. And it just turned into a hell of a finish. So, I don't know. There really isn't much more to say other than that. It just was a good show. And well worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm already ready for next year, or give us another damn dirt race. I don't care. Let's do more of this.
Let's put the trucks somewhere else, or bring Xfinity, and maybe Cup isn't quite ready yet to do Eldora, but I mean we got to start with Xfinity. That could be awesome. But
I'm glad that was kind of a discussion point that was brought up, like thrown into the week, and it was like, oh, okay, now we're talking about this. Good. Let's do that. Let's make something of this.
More dirt, more short tracks. It's got to happen.
Absolutely. And if they don't want to sit there and throw it all in the Cup Series right away, that's fine. But we need a little bit more of this spice thrown into the lower series. And that's what makes the trucks so unique. And that's what made them unique years ago. And they've actually lost some of that edge. So having Eldora in the schedule just makes it like that much better, even though it's only one race. And that's what it's great, and it sucks at the same time. Like it just comes and goes so fast. But
like you said, from like a racing standpoint, like it was a pretty straightforward race, but it's just the atmosphere. Like it's electric. There's nothing else like it. I don't know how to explain it. It's just we need more stuff like that to bring fans back.
I mean, every year, pretty much since the very first race, the race has been a sellout. And it's not just because the action on the track is great, but also like concession prices are very affordable. And a lot of the fans that come, they're like diehard dirt fans. They don't just watch trucks. They watch World of Outlaws. They watch all kinds of series at Eldora, and the trucks are just one of the many that compete there. And it's obviously a treat, every year for us fans, because we're the real winners when it comes to that race. And I would think Tony Stewart would agree with me, and a lot of others would too, and I'm sure you guys would agree also.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that big hell yeah right there, buddy. But As far as some of the specific things that happened in the race, there was some pretty kind of wild stuff that went on. Even beforehand, the heat races are always fun to watch, and the LCQ, oh man. Here's a little bit of a premature award. That frickin' straight jacket that Ray Cicerelli, that dumbass that ruined the show last year, he tried again to qualify. But thank God that for the 39 truck entries, his ass was able to go home, get on the bus, go take your Jennifer Jo Cobb shitbox, and park it after those 3 or 4 spins that he had in the heat race and LCSQ. I had to bring that up. God, that guy pisses me off. If you suck, stay home. Is it that hard?
I know, right? And also, just since you're on the premature awards, how about a premature cigar for Norm Benning for advancing?
Hell yeah. And Norm, he was out there wheeling that sumbitch. His truck's a shitbox, but he kept it in one piece to get into the show. But unfortunately, it was also kind of a heartbreaker. If we're gonna talk premature random awards, he basically gets the heartbreaker too. For Christ's sake, he did finish dead last after getting totally candied in a late wreck for no reason. Tore the whole left side off. Real shame.
Yeah, I was watching that heat race, and when Norm made it into the transfer spot, they were Vince Welch, Michael Waltrip, and Kyle Larson, who was the guest announcer, as well as Christopher Bell, who was working the pits for Fox. I mean, holy crap! Their reaction when Norm raced his way in, it was fucking priceless. I mean, it felt like you were there, because pretty sure that's how everybody reacted to seeing Norm pull that shit off. So, I mean, that was fucking awesome to watch.
He's just the cult favorite, man. He's the hero. When the whole Greenfield thing happened in the LCQ in the first year, it just basically threw him onto the spotlight. It's a shame he hasn't been able to get like a little bit of sponsorship or whatever for that race, or at least a better truck piece that he could have to go out there and wheel it. Shit, I think he could do it. Old Norm. We love Storm and Norman. But, there was a handful of guys out there that were dirt guys making their appearances. Logan Seavey, he threw himself up there until he bottled the shit out of it. But, surprisingly, good old buddy Stuart Friesen, he wasn't as much of a factor as I thought he was going to be. Still had a good finish. But I think it's just great that Chase Briscoe and like Grant Enfinger damn near won that race, and Enfinger has no damn dirt experience. And I think now, even though it's a real equalizer track, the guys that don't have that much dirt experience, like, it's becoming less and less of an excuse each year. Like, these guys are just getting better, and that's a good thing. And I think it brings a good mix with them and the dirt guys that show up once or twice. Like, they just throw themselves in there and it's a nice clash. I think we're kind of at that point right now.
Yeah, it's like the road courses. The ringers, it's still nice to have them, but they don't necessarily are guaranteed for the win. And it's great to see the competition close in, especially at a track like that. So it made for a great race.
Sure did. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Eldora, obviously we love it, and we cannot wait for it for next year. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Kane, kick it off.
Sure thing. So, about a day after Eldora, a website that Mick and I both follow called Kicking the Tires. Its main writer is a gentleman that we both met at Chicagoland named Aaron Bearden. So anyways, his site, I don't know if he actually wrote this, but his site report kind of broke a story about certain teams kind of playing shadow games in an attempt to confuse the optical scanning station, the laser inspection system. And by doing that, they place, especially those teams that have bright colored paint schemes like Bubba Wallace and William Byron, well, they place these patches of black paint over the corners of the car, specifically the right rear corner, as well as around the wheel arches in the rear of the car and parts of the rear bumper. Now, if you guys remember Chase Elliott's Little Caesars car from Michigan, you notice the black wheel arches and then the black getting abruptly cut off as soon as it hit the rear bumper? Well, now we know why they're doing it. They're trying to trick the OS system into using the low-resolution scanners, because with dark-colored paint schemes like Martin Truex's, it has to use the high optical scanner or whatever because it can't see. It's like it has eyes. It can't see it as well as it does with a brighter-colored car, and therefore the teams are using that darker color to try to trick the system. Well, First of all, it's mostly Chevy teams that are doing this, and you can tell, obviously, by their results on the track that it's not working. So,
Yeah.
first of all, it makes your paint schemes look like absolute shit, and it's not exactly helping you on the track, is it? So, just stop it.
Yeah. I mean,
Seriously.
you can't blame them for looking for an advantage, but I mean, I think it's more of a call to NASCAR to just update your stuff. If your software can get confused that easily, then you got to improve it. So hopefully they can do that. But like Kane said, like not that it's working anyway, not that they are confusing them, but if they do sneak something past, then well, NASCAR get it together.
It's laughable. I got nothing else to add.
Yeah.
Nope. Neither do I.
Moving on. Well, obviously we just got done recapping the trucks as they were in Eldora, and you know damn well what that means. Where did Cody Coughlin finish? Cody Coughlin's worst outing of the year. He started in 24th and finished in 28th, an absolute battered CoughlinChevrolet.com Chevrolet Jags. Coughlin Chevrolet Jags.
Jags!
Jax.
Shut up. Because, oh my god. What a night for Cody. He was all over the joint. Somehow didn't manage to go to the LCQ for the first time ever, but that was about his only bright moment in the day as he got battered around, ran like hell, obviously. So let's see what he had to say. That was a night. We just couldn't get the truck to handle right. Jerry and the number 2 team worked hard to try and fix it the best they could with the track conditions. I'm ready to move on to Pocono. It was cool to see Tony, though, and talk to him about the track and what to expect. Okay. All right.
Did you listen to Tony?
I don't think he listened to anything. I don't think he listened to Kenny Wallace either when they had that little funny TV interview. And thanks for adding that at the end. But yeah, nice shit night, Cody. Worst finish of the year. Sorry about your luck there. Glad Daddy could put their little dealership on the truck this week. That was cute, but it didn't work out. So, Jags!
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 It's also funny, though, like how in at least a couple wrecks, he was just like an afterthought and just randomly spun at the end. Probably got run over, but still, like, he's like, I want to wreck too.
Right? It was even that one time, like, wow, I finally made it through him. I'm like, well, you were running that far back. It's no surprise you missed it.
Yeah.
God damn it,
It's like,
Cody.
It's like, oh, and around goes whoever, and then 5 seconds later, oh, there's Cody.
Yeah, I know, right? I seriously didn't think he was going to get restarted after that one wreck, so it's amazing that he even finished. But better luck next week in Pocono. The site of his first ever top 10.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Nice laugh there. What was that?
What the hell was that? All right, now it's time to hand out some race awards for the New Hampshire and Eldora race weekends. And starting off with that classic boner of the week, Nick's got the raging. Let's listen.
Yeah, this week the boner goes to Jeremy Clements. After being a decent underdog like he always is, he just decided to run into the barrels on like the last set of green flag pit stops. He locked up the brakes. I think someone was right behind him, so maybe he tried to not get run over. But then, like, he got inside the commitment box, so he's like, I better still try to pit, even though I'm sliding onto the track. And probably sliding onto the track and pitting the next lap would have been the better option, because in trying to get back to pit road, he hit the barrels. Yeah, I mean, he didn't hit him that hard, but it was still enough to cause a 7-minute red flag. It probably really annoyed the safety crew. They're like, man, why did you just... frickin'. Okay. Sorry, Clements. That wasn't your best moment. So, next award.
The next award is the day from hell! And that goes to Brad Keselowski, who had a not-so-Brad day. Wasn't really running that great. No stage points or anything like that. He was a little auto-traded forward. And then kind of late in the race in stage 3, the brakes started to fail. You just saw him for laps on end, having to coast from like the start-finish line, in the middle of the backstretch, and just like cruise into the turns. His brakes were totally gone, and eventually he had to come to pit road and spend 8 laps there. Ended up finishing 32nd. Just a shit outing for Brad. Sorry about your luck. Next award.
And the next award are the cigars. And because it's Eldora, we do have quite a few from the Truck Series, as well as New Hampshire. So we're going to start with those. First goes to the Eldora truck finish between Chase Briscoe and Grant Enfinger. Easily, like Nick said, the best finish in Eldora history in the Truck Series. That was freaking awesome. And then the next cigar goes to Logan Seavey. Now, obviously, no one's ever heard of him. Yeah, who are you? He races in dirt midgets for Keith Coons Motorsports, the same team that Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell both drive for at the Chili Bowl every year. Well, this guy made his Truck Series debut driving for KBM in the number 51, and he actually won Stage 2 and was one lap shy of leading the most laps. Had the lead late in the race, but unfortunately it came down to a restart battle, and he fell all the way back to 8th, which is still really good considering it's his very first race in a truck. And our final truck cigar goes to Nick Hoffman. Again, who are you? Well, he was in the 83 truck for DJ Kopp. He pretty much flew under the radar the whole night and brought it home in a solid 10th place result. So, good for you, son. You get a cigar. And next up, we'll have the Xfinity cigars, and I believe that will go to Nick.
Yeah, we have a lot of Xfinity cigars, just one. Yeah, the Xfinity cigar goes to Christopher Bell. He wins back-to-back races. It's his third of the year. And not only did he win, but he held off Brad Keselowski, had a great battle with him, and showed him that he can compete with the Cup guys. So NBC tried to make something of it and say David beat Goliath, but it was more like Goliath beat Goliath because he's talented and on a good team, so just a good win for him. Moving on to the Cup cigars, Kevin Harvick gets the first one of those. He won the race on a really awesome bump and run on Kyle Busch. Suck it, Kyle!
Suck it, whore!
Like we said before, it's unfortunate that the big three had to rise to the top near the end like they always do, but they put on a good show, and I guess it's okay that Harvick got his 6th win. He's having a nice year. Moving on, Chase Elliott gets a cigar. He finished 5th and actually won Stage 2, like we mentioned earlier, and it was actually his first top 5 or top 10 at New Hampshire. So while Hendrick struggles, this was a good little shining moment. So good job for Chase. And I believe we might have one more award. It's usually one that we like to do. And yeah, Kane, what is it?
Oh my God, it's the crying towel! Oh my God, and can you believe it? You know who it goes to?
No.
Anybody? Well, I'll tell you who. It goes to Kyle Busch! Oh my God, Kyle! No, it's not for the finish. He wasn't as salty as you would expect, but during the racing, he was a salty snicker son of a bitch against, of all people, his own brother! Oh my God! He said, "Way to go, dipshit 41! Jesus, man, he couldn't even pass me right! We suck!" How could you say that about your own big brother, Kyle? He's older than you. He could probably kick your ass any day of the week! Oh my God, Kyle! I'm just gonna keep this brief, so... Yeah, eat shit, asshole! You interstate battery receiver son of a bitch!
It's gonna be a fun Thanksgiving again, isn't it, Kyle?
Bitch!
Grandma's gonna have to sit you down again, give you a good talking to.
But seriously, Kyle, stop yelling at your brother!
Oh man, that was great. I appreciated the bluntness as always. Very good, King. Alright, now it's time to take a look at the best paint schemes of the week, so enjoy the quick montage.
I got a bombshell in my black Corvette, burning on the rubber like a hot cigarette. Ain't found nothing that'll hold me yet. Feels a little better when I'm out on the edge, like a Tarantino movie running through my head. Ain't gonna sleep again until I'm dead. So I'm gonna fly just as high as I want to.
And of course, to balance those two paint schemes out, we have two worst paint schemes of the week. And for the first time this year, we've got a truck. That's right, I am done with GMS's shit. You've seen it all year long with that horrible-ass number font. And even in the Xfinity series, they're guilty of it there, too. But this one is Johnny Sauter's number 21 Orange Allegiant Chevrolet. What in the hell is this? I don't understand what the big deal of having an actual good-looking number font is instead of having to use this generic bullshit. This one actually kind of fits this paint scheme, if you can even call it that. It fits it a little bit better than the normal one would. But what in the hell is that emblem that the number is inside of? I don't even know what to say about it. It just looks like the Monopoly man has like little nub fingers and he's pointing to the right. Or the left, or whatever the fuck it is. I don't even know which way it's going sometimes. I don't want to understand it. You might think it's going to the right. I don't know. You never know, because you don't know what this shit is. Allegiant. I'm tired of it. Your airline probably sucks. If you're going to come up with shit paint schemes like this, just get better things. I'm so glad Johnny spun out like 6 times and had a night from hell. Good for him. Want to keep running pieces of shit looking like that? I don't have a problem with Johnny Sauter, but the thing is, he's won 4 times this season, and every time he's won, I'm like, oh, okay. But I didn't really want to see that paint scheme win. Exactly. Ugh, God damn number font!
When you think that part of the paint scheme is going right, boom, it goes left.
Exactly. Terrible. All right. Now let's move on to the Cup Series. Nick, we have some rage there too.
Yeah, Matt DiBenedetto usually has a good scheme with the Can-Am sponsor and all that, but oh my god, what is going on? They just threw every decal they had. It was like the Gary Grill on steroids. I don't even know what sponsor is on the front. It's like some car dealer, I think, and it's just too many words. And then outside, it's Moody for governor. I don't even know who you are. Who are you, Moody? Yeah, I mean, look at this contingency pack. There's like 1 million decals in it. Sponsors! So many sponsors. I mean, again, nice to have an underfunded team have some sponsors, but Jesus! And there's the same thing behind the number 2. Oh my god! You still got Can-Am on there, but it's like as far away from the car as it could be. It's almost touching the track. But, I mean, what happened to you guys?
I mean, the thing about it is, the regular paint scheme could have worked on its own. Even with that really stupid, like, dip in that A-pillar. You didn't mention that. I don't like that either. But
yeah.
Despite all of that, it could have worked. It's just that contingency pack is so nonsensical and cluttered, it just makes it look like some piece of shit. I thought it was a Pinty's car when you first showed it. Like, they like to slap anything everywhere. Oh, no. This can't happen. I mean, were you guys in JTG's shop this week? Were you going over your notes? Did the graphic design guy decide to come over and design a car for you, too? I mean, that guy, I think he has a ficus in his office, and I tell you what, I'm going to snap it in half like a twig, and then piss in him. That's right, piss on him, and his ficus, and his shitty-ass paint schemes. We are moving on now.
Yes.
Ass schemes. Well, now it's time to recap the fantasy results and picks from Eldora and Loudon. So let's kick it off with Eldora first. We didn't really put the bonus points into place last week when we did our episode, so we'll just say it now. So it was 10 free bonus points up to grabs for whoever picked the highest finishing driver, and an additional 10 points if that driver were to win the race, but none of our picks were able to win. So I actually get the 10 free bonus points by picking Stuart Friesen, who finished 3rd. Damani picked Matt Crafton, who finished in 4th. Kane picked Logan Seavey, who damn near had it, but he ended up having to settle for 8th. And Nick rounded out the rear, picking Sheldon Creed, who finished 15th. So that settles it there, and now we move on to our Loudon picks, and Kane is the winner once again, picking Kevin Harvick, who won the race and got 51 points. But wait a second, we've got a tie again. Damani, who picked Martin Truex Jr., who finished in 4th place, also got 51 points. So that's pretty cool right there. Nick finishes in 3rd, picking Kyle Busch, who was in 2nd, earning 46 points. And me, with a terrible selection of Clint Boyer, only 9 points after his whatever the hell failure, finishing in 35th. So it's been a long time, and we are going to now recap the points quick since it has been kind of crazy over the last several months. So Kane is your current fantasy points leader with 794. I am 37 back, and a long way in a different state are Damani and Thermite with 128 back and 134 back. So they are out of the running completely for the regular season title as we close in on the end of it. So now we move on to Pocono, and it's time to make our selections there. So I am up first on the board, and I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr.
Fucking hooah!
Yeah, he won there in spring. Next pick. Who is it?
I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick. Busch. No surprise there. He's obviously won there before. He's won just about everywhere this season. He's going to get it done. All right, Damani, who you picking?
Did you see that? Did you see what he just did?
All right, Kane, who are you picking?
Well, he almost won in the spring, and he's pretty much been the closest thing to the big three at most tracks this season. I'm picking Kyle Larson!
Admit it, you suck. Thanks for your insight on Kyle Larson's Pocono stats. But, alright, that wraps up the fantasy. Let's move on. Well, that does it for another episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. We appreciate you for listening. So, for Damani HD, thank God he wasn't here to ramble on this week and be really low-sounding. You suck, Damani. Love you, though. For Kane Jr. 88, yeah, he rambles a little bit, but we were happy to have him back this week. Missed you a little bit, kind of, not really. For Thermite 917, and for myself, Probo 43. This has been Behind the Wall. You've been Behind the Wall, and thank you for listening.
Kyle took it surprisingly well, so, obviously, yeah. I mean,
You do
obviously
that.
this is going to set up a... fuck you.
I don't even know which one he's talking to.
Whatever. Seriously,
Bitch.
why don't you take my fucking advice?
That's an outtake.
Yeah.
It was very gentle. Like, I could have taken that somewhere, and I won't do it. But stop making stories out of nothing. It was a good job by Christopher Bell. End of story. Next cigar is me. I bottled that really bad.
Yeah, seriously, you had like a cane right there again. You're at the 10-yard line, you got nobody around you, and you still
I
tripped.
know. Yeah.
Oh, hey, we should give an honorary cigar in the Xfinity race for Angelo Rock, who managed not to crash the fucking whore.
Fucking hooah!
Nice job running in 30th and not crashing, bitch!
Change her middle name to Didn't, so it's Angela Didn't Ruck.
Good one!
So stupid.
I know it was stupid, just like those spray tans!
Pumpkin. Who are you, Moody?
You're making me
Well, I
moody!
don't know who I am either! My Dave Moody sucks.
Jesus.
What
I was like, what the hell was that? And thank you for listening.
And we love you.
And we love you. Na, 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 we love you.
That was bad.
It was really bad. But you said it, I ran with it, and the cringe was real. So, you get what you get, bitch.